You know, here we are. We're almost to the midway point of the 2016 season. We've had 4 tournaments. We've got 5, maybe 6 to go. We started off with the Classic. After a good season last year, I was qualified for the Classic, and we started out on Grand Lake, first week of March. A lot of hype going into the tournament, and I was really excited. And it was a great event. Had absolute blast, met a lot of great people, and had a good time on the water. It wasn't the Grand Lake that we expected at all. You know, Grand Lake, the previous time they had held the Classic there, the water was clear, fishing was really good, and we expected that again this time, but we actually met dirty, cold water and really tough fishing, you know. We were planning on going out there and catching a bunch of fish. I was excited to use the new Berkley cutter. I had a bunch of baits just ready to go for this tournament, a bunch of cutters. And it ended up being a tournament where we had to do a lot more cranking, jig fishing, vibrating jigs. It was a good tournament for the new Berkley Bad Shad. Caught quite a few fish on this, and this was a big player. But it just, again, it wasn't what we expected. And, you know, that event, I had actually a good first day. I think I was in 10th or 11th place after the first day, and I thought I was ready to, you know, go out and have a good second day and make a run at it. And day 2 just did not work out for me. Some things changed. I didn't make the right adjustments. I dropped to, I think I finished 37th, 38th place, and didn't make the final day, didn't make the cut. So I was at the expo the last day. But again, you know, just being at the event, I felt really privileged to be there, and just added that much more fuel to the fire to want to make it next year. You know, as soon as it was over, the goal started, you know, that the first day of the next season started after the last day of the Classic, you know, moving ahead to next year's Classic. So it was a fun event, and it was kind of crazy. You know, we were fishing in our Gore-Tex bibs and cold weather boots, and, you know, fishing in frigid weather at the Classic. And the next week we're driving down to Florida, flip-flops and shorts, and we're going after big giant spawning bass on bed. So it was quite a 180. And Florida was really similar to the Classic for me. I started off with a really good first day. I had almost 20 pounds. I was in the top 20. I had actually broke off a fish that was between 8 and 10 pounds. I had literally the leading bag on my line that day, and I was excited about day 2. But gosh, again, dropped the ball the second day, weighed in 7 pounds, and just barely missed the cut in that one again. So, you know, I was pretty bummed out about that, but not a disaster points-wise. You know, I was able to kind of just get through that one. Wasn't damaged by the finish point with points or anything like that, but it was kind of unique because I kept things really simple on bait selection. You know, sight fishing, those fish out there, they like a straight-tailed worm. There's nothing they like better than a straight-tailed worm. And I caught him on a June bug bottom hopper from Berkley, just Texas rig, on a jig head, on a drop shot. I fished it different ways, but I pretty much just threw this bait by itself through the whole event. It's the best way to catch those bedding fish down there, and it's what I stuck with. I just simply ran out of fish the second day, and that's kind of why it didn't work out for me in the end. But I'll know how to adjust better the next time we go down there. And after St. John's, we rolled over to Winyah Bay, and it's a tidal place. And you know, tidal places are, you know, growing up in the West, in the Southwest, I didn't grow up with much experience on tidal places, and I feel very comfortable fishing reservoirs and some types of rivers, but tidal fisheries are my Achilles heel, and it was my Achilles heel again this time. You know, my worst finish of the season so far was down there, and it was a really unique event because we had a lot of factors in play. We had a lot of fishable water. Some of it was 100 miles away from the ramp, and that's where the biggest fish lived. Some of it was closer to the ramp, and that's where some smaller fish lived. But, you know, I figured I would play it safe and fish close, get a top 50, make some money, make some points, and get out of there. And again, things just didn't work out as well for me. I didn't have the tides down. I fished some of the wrong areas, and I came out of there in 86th place, and I was bummed, man. The first 2 tournaments of the season, buried in the points, no money. I really needed to turn it around. Luckily, we were headed to a couple fisheries that I've got some history on, and, you know, lakes that I'm a little bit more familiar with that style of fishing. Bull Shoals was one of them. And that next tournament was really unique because it was a split format. We fished Norfolk Lake the first day, Bull Shoals the second and third, and back to Norfolk on the final day. And again, I really like the way Bull Shoals sets up. I wasn't familiar with Norfolk, but similar to Bull Shoals, so I wasn't too worried about it. And it was a decent tournament for me. I ended up making the 50 cut and ended up finishing in the 40s. So didn't have a fantastic home run type tournament, but made some money, made a cut, and I actually had some opportunities at a really good tournament. Just lost some fish and didn't execute on those, so that stings a little bit, but was able to kind of climb up out of that hole a little bit in points and move forward. Caught a lot of my fish there, just flipping a chigger craw in bushes. You know, just a classic way to catch fish in the spring on those Ozark lakes. You know, when they're spawning, you know they're gonna be in the bushes. That's the only cover they've got. And I just flipped a green pumpkin chigger craw on 3/8 ounce weight on a 7.6 heavy action Veracity rod from Abu Garcia, and just tried to flip a million bushes a day. And that's kind of how I caught all my fish, and got through that one in decent shape, and just finished up here on Wheeler. We got Wheeler Lake right behind us here, and this tournament was cool because I went completely old school. You know, I've actually never been here before, don't know anything about the lake, and we're fishing post-spawn. You know, it was a total post-spawn tournament, and you know, I tried to keep it really simple. I picked one small section of the lake that I knew held some fish just from previous tournament history, you know, doing research on this place, and I finessed. I fished a bottom hopper the whole time on a shaky head. I threw in a Carolina rigged lizard, a boss dog a little bit, but primarily that shaky head bottom hopper was the deal. I just kept that thing in my hand, fished areas where I think post-spawn fish would set up, and it was a good tournament for me. I started in 6th place after the first day, and it got progressively a little tougher, but I ended up coming out of here in 22nd, so got some great points, got a check, and we're right back up in the middle of the pack. We're in about 50th place in points, and it's really, really tight, all the way from 25th down to 70th, you know, with only 4 events down. But anyways, we're in decent shape, going after another classic berth. Got to have some good tournaments coming up. You know, I've got to just keep the foot down and have some good ones to get ahead a little bit, but we're in okay shape right now, and it's been a decent start to the year. Just need to keep it rolling.